Da-da-da-da! A celebration power-up for this week. And it's just the other side. It's the other side to all of this wonderful research that's come out of positive psychology. And so it's a fun tool. It feels amazing to use, unlike the adversity tool. So that's really good. And it's meant to do two things. So the celebration power-up will help you savor and extend the good feelings that you have, like the pleasant experience. And the other one is it's going to train you to think optimistically when good stuff happens. And that's where I'm personally weaker as an optimist. So it's something that I find myself getting a lot of benefit from. But yeah, like, so just that very first benefit, which is to savor and extend the goodness, like, how awesome is that? Right? Like we all, like, most of us really want to be happier. We want to have more life satisfaction. And one of the ways to do that is to increase the times we feel positive emotions. And one of the ways we do that is by savoring them when they're there and, like, letting them sink in, like holding on to them, right? Like extending that good feeling as long as possible. So this tool really helps us do that. And again, it trains us to think optimistically about that. Hi, Tina Tom, welcome. Okay, so it's still too loud. All right, thank you for that feedback. I'm going to adjust it. This is all just to say that I really need to get my sound mixing figured out. I hope that's better. I can always just turn it off. It just seems so, like, boring to me not to have something. Let me know if that's still not the best, and I will just keep adjusting it. So, okay, the celebration. Well, first of all, how do I want to do this? I'm gonna just, like, walk through it, and then I'm gonna, like, show images. So it's really easy, you guys. Essentially, you're gonna ask yourself 7 questions, and you're gonna answer them. So in order to power up a celebration, you want to ask yourself what it is that you're celebrating, right? Like, in order to really let it sink in and extend the good feelings, you want to relive it as much as possible. So you want to get clear on what it is you're celebrating. If you want to, like, journal about it, that'd be cool, because you could, like, lay the scene, right? And, like, tell yourself. And okay, I am reading Tina Tom's message because I don't want to keep talking when it's not working. I got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let me switch the playlists. All right, it is gone. That makes sense. How about relaxing classical? That sounds better than instrumental lullabies, because I actually might fall asleep on you guys. Cool. All right, so yeah, you're going to be asking yourself 7 questions. You're going to answer them. And really the first one is just, what are you celebrating? And you want to, like, be as specific or as non-specific as you want. Like, all of this is just to serve you, so take what you want and leave the rest. And when you're doing that, the second question is to get into touch with how it makes you feel. Like, do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel like pleased, content, right? Like, you want to get in tune, like, in touch with how you feel, and just savor it, right? And just the act of focusing on it and writing it down, or just saying it out loud, however it is that you want to record it for yourself and answer it, is savoring it, which is really cool. And you get a lot of psychological benefits from that. And then you want to reflect on the third question, which is, what about that success? Like, what about you made that success possible? So you're getting in touch with your strengths, something that you did, right, that made it really successful. So when I become an affiliate on Twitch, I'm going to be celebrating, and I'm going to be doing this celebration tool for sure. And so one of the things I might say when I'm like, well, what about Catherine, me, made Twitch possible? Because it has not just been me. It will never just be me. It's you guys as much as it's me. So, but I want to focus on me, right? Because I'm celebrating me. So yeah, like my bravery for sure. My willingness to get out here in front of you guys and be vulnerable and just to do this. And just be really like to let myself grow publicly. Yeah, that made it possible. So I'm making it personal. I am taking my win and I'm making it personal. And that is one of the things that an optimist does when something goes really well for them. Then I'm going to ask number 4, which is, how will this goodness positively affect other areas of my life? So remember, optimistic thinking for good events are personal, pervasive, and permanent. So that question was about my strengths, right? It's personal. Now I'm asking, how is it pervasive? So how will this amazing win like spill over and affect other areas of my life? And then I'm going to ask the permanent question, which is something like, how will this permanently make things better for me, right? And then I added on like a question that just says, who am I going to share the good news with? Because connection is necessary for our mental health, for our life satisfaction. And so that's a cool one to have in there. Like if you have somebody that will like celebrate back with you, like I would just say, like, don't take your win and share it with somebody who's like just like a dead reaction, right? Like we all have people in our life that don't know, like this is a skill. They may not know how to celebrate with you. I wouldn't choose those people. I would choose the people who, when they hear your good news, are going to like be positively affected too and like mirror back your excitement, because that's going to help extend and savor the good news as well. And then, of course, the final question is, what other action, if any, are you going to do to celebrate? So you may want to go get a drink, right? You may want to go read a book. You might just do some sort of ritual to mark that this is an awesome thing that deserves to be acknowledged. So guys, it's really simple. Really simple. It just takes some time. I want to show you. So I updated the I'm going to show it to you. I updated the ABCDE form that the Mrs. Scott Evans shared in chat a second ago, and to include, where is it? Where's my browser? Why is my browser not showing up? Oh, delightful. Let's see if I can make this work. Guys, I feel like it's just gonna be, thank you for sharing it again, Mrs. Scott Evans. I feel like it's just gonna be one of those days. Well, okay. It's not going to show it to you. Well, I can walk you through it if you can't look at it. But essentially, like, it's a spreadsheet that we created, right, for the ABCDE PowerUp. And in the spreadsheet, on a tab, you're going to find the celebration PowerUp. So I just wanted to include them together because they're based off of the same research. So yeah, so that's basically that. If you want to check it out, you have the link there. And yeah, what I can show you. So I think you're all familiar with Google Drive. I'm guessing. If you are, awesome. If not, there's other ways to get the same result. But I created a form in Google Drive, and it looks like this. And essentially, oh no, yeah. So essentially, this is for the ABCDE PowerUp. So I'm going backwards a bit, but it's gonna show you that I'm trying to get the music back, which is why I'm all distracted. I basically took the form the spreadsheet and created a form. And then I downloaded the form onto the home screen of my cell phone so that when adversity strikes, it's super easy for me to work the tool, for me to do the PowerUp. And then that form automatically sends your answers to a spreadsheet so that you have it safe and sound. I wish I could share my form with you and just let you use it, but unfortunately that would mix all of our results together, and we probably don't want that. So it makes doing this as easy as possible, which I of course recommend. Oh yeah, you did. So Tiny Tam, that was last week, and it's where the rubber meets the road, and this actually becomes a tool that can truly transform our lives. So this is all based on a lot of research that came out of positive psychology, and what it is it's a tool that teaches you how to think like an optimist if you're thinking pessimistically when bad events happen. And what's super cool is the step D lets you like think optimistically without falling into the traps of like being naive, right? Like the downside to optimism, or like not taking responsibility for things that you should take responsibility for. So it's about functional optimism, not just like being la-di-da-di-da about life, which is really, really cool. And and so you can see, like, you can watch last week's stream if you want, but in that link that the Mrs. Scott put into chat, you'll see what the D step is, and it's essentially what you're going to do is you're going to look at what your beliefs were, and then you're going to dispute them. So, and you do that in 4 steps. One is you're going to look for evidence to the contrary, and that proves your belief is incorrect. If there aren't any evidence, you're going to look for alternative explanations, because oftentimes the explanation we've come up with in a bad event isn't necessarily accurate or isn't necessarily the whole truth. Then the 3rd step, if those aren't enough, is to look at the implications, which is another way to say that is to challenge the catastrophic thinking you're having, and to get really clear on because most of the time we over catastrophize. So you're going to get really clear on what the negative consequences are more likely to be. And then if there are negative consequences, you make a plan to minimize them as best as you can. And if all of that doesn't help shift your thinking from pessimistic to optimistic, you're just going to question the usefulness of your beliefs. And if they're not serving you, you can choose to let them go. So yeah, and there's more I explain a lot about what optimistic thinking is versus what pessimistic thinking is. And I'm happy to share a really quick rundown of that. If it's too much information coming at you too fast, I would just watch the video whenever you have a spare moment, or email me. I'd be happy to chat with you, off stream. But so basically, when a bad event happens, pessimists think that it's personal, it's pervasive, and it's permanent. So it's their fault. It's going to affect and ruin everything that they have in their lives, and it's going to be a permanently bad thing that's happened. Whereas optimists, they don't take it personally. They localize it. They don't think it's going to affect other areas of their life, or not many other areas, and that it's not permanent, that this bad thing isn't going to be around forever. Yeah, so that was last week, and in a real quick rundown. Hope that was somewhat helpful. So in that spreadsheet, you can take that steps, put it into a Google form like this, and make it a lot easier to fill out. So this is for when adversity happens, and then today is about when good stuff happens and you get to celebrate and power up with celebration. So this is included in that ABCDE PowerUp tool, which is the Excel spreadsheet. But you can also just take it and use it to create another form. So these are the questions that we went through. And oh, cool! Thank you, Tom Tom. I'm glad that worked and helped you out. So yeah, so we're looking at celebration, and again, it's a much more fun tool, I think, to use. It's also very beneficial. Probably not as beneficial to most of us, because we tend to be more affected by the bad things in our lives than the good things. But yeah, so this is a good one to use. It feels good to do. And again, it's really about savoring and extending the positive and pleasant state that you're in, and also about training you to think optimistically about the good stuff. So it reminds you to also focus on how your good event is personal. Like, well, how did you contribute directly to the good outcome? How is it pervasive, and how is it permanent? Yeah, so that's what my form looks like, and it's on my phone, and I want good things to happen just so that I can use it, because it felt so good using it when I had a reason to. So yeah, so that was really cool. Let's see. What do I want to say? How are we all doing? I think we're doing good. Yeah. Oh yeah, so, man, I really want my browser to work. I don't know why it's not working. Well, that's lame, because I do a lot there with you guys. I was going to do Habitica. The change I made from last week is I have, in my daily column on Habitica, I have the ABCDE PowerUp. And I'm really looking for opportunities to do it every single day. That's why it's in my daily. And what I say is I wrote down, like, whenever adversity strikes, I fill out the ABCDE tool. And when there's a win, I fill out the celebration form. And then I just check it off when I'm able to do it. And, you guys, it's awesome. I'm learning just as much as you guys are in this journey. So God knows there's like a ton of stuff I don't know yet. But if I had to say, out of all the stuff that we've gone over together, like, this is probably, if you were only going to do one thing, this is probably what I would recommend you do. Yeah, I think it's that powerful. So I'm really excited about it. Really wish, I'm frustrated. Okay, adversity. I'm frustrated that my tech is not working, but we roll with it. Okay, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to show you this. I'm just gonna have to tell it to you, which is not ideal. So where I wanted to go from here is that something that's really, really cool about the Celebration PowerUp is that you can apply it to the people in your life that you care about. Whoops, let's keep that one up. And like, so you, and when you do, like I mentioned earlier, when you've got really good news, I recommend being selective in who you share it with, because there are some people that don't know how to celebrate with you. Like, they don't have that skill. And so what happens is you get nothing back. Like, they just kind of ignore it. Or they downplay it, right? They kind of just like passively poo-poo it. Or worse, like, they're negative about it, and they're like, oh, well, have you thought about what this means here? And like, they're really negative about it, and they like drum up fear and all that kind of stuff. And like, you just don't want to share with them, because it's just totally gonna kill your high and not help you, right? Like, we're perfectly capable of coming up with all the fears ourselves. So you don't really need to hear it mirrored back to you from somebody you care about. So likewise, we can learn to celebrate people's like wins better. Like, we can get better at celebrating, so that when someone comes to us with a win, we can help them extend it and savor it and think about it optimistically. And I wanted to share a video with you guys, because I love doing that. But unfortunately, I can't share my browser right now, and I don't know enough to quickly fix it. So, but the video is of Dr. Martin Seligman. Should not be maybe I can get the link for you guys. He's basically the father of positive psychology, right? So I talk about him a lot because I really, I'm like reading everything I feel like everything he's ever published. Probably not true, but that's what I'm trying to do. So he has a video on the skill of celebrating, which is basically, it's called positive active responding. And in the video, he uses marriage as his example, but it's a skill that works in any relationship that you consider important to you. So I'm just going to tell you about it. And then maybe we can watch the video later, hopefully. Nope. Doop. Aha. Wow, you guys, I'm a little bit of a mess today. I can get this up for us, though. So, yeah, wow, okay. All right, so there are 4, when someone comes to you with good news or you go to somebody else with good news, there are 4 ways to acknowledge, to respond. And the best is that active, constructive responding. And that means that you're going to give that person your full attention. So if you're on your phone or whatever, you're going to drop that and focus on them and make eye contact, right? Like be present with them. And you're going to however you can authentically join in on their positive experience, you're going to do. So if you can feel happy with them, you're going to let your happiness be expressed. If you can feel the excitement, you're going to be excited, right? You want to join them emotionally in the happy place that they're in as best as you possibly can. And you want to do it authentically, right? Because we're really good at noticing when someone's faking an emotion. And you just want to verbally express congratulations. And that can be done in a bajillion different ways, but it's oh my God, that's great. Wow, you've been telling me how important that is to you and you finally did it. I'm so excited for you. Right? You guys know what I mean. You're going to verbally celebrate them. The next, so that's the best response. The response that's not quite the best response, but isn't as bad as the ones we're going to get into, is passive constructive. So that's if I came to you with really good news and you had low energy, so you didn't really join me emotionally, or you're delayed in responding, or you're just kind of quiet. So it would be something oh, cool, that's nice, good for you. Right? It's yeah, right. Celebrating with people, when you, a lot of us do this naturally, but if you don't, if you, when you pick up this skill, it feels good. The person, emotion and energy is really contagious. So, just join, you're joining somebody, somebody worked hard for that positive emotion, right? They've had this epic win, that really good news. They've worked hard for it, and you kind of just get to, piggyback ride on the goodness. It's an amazing opportunity and it feels really good. And yeah, Mrs. Scott, I love doing it too. I love doing it. Yeah, so the passive response is pretty lame. You're kind of there, you've heard them, but you're not at all joining in the excitement, and you're just kind of that's cool, way to go. And then you go immediately back to what you were doing. Then there's active destructive responding, which is you're quashing the event, you're dismissing it completely, or you're being demeaning. And that could happen in a million different ways, right? So it could just be someone telling you that they don't believe you, or they'll be oh wow, that sounds really stressful. I'm thinking when I become an affiliate, right? I'm wow, okay, so that's really great news. I'm really, really happy. But I know, my fears are going to be triggered. And I'd be wow, can I keep it up? I'd really like to continue growing the audience, which means I need to stream more. And, I don't know. That's a big commitment. I don't know if you're ready for it, right? I already have all of those, I already have the active destructive voice in my head. I don't need anybody to also tell those things to me. And when they do, it really sucks. It really sucks. So don't do it to other people, right? And then there's like the passive destructive response, which is like you're turning the focus onto you, or you're like totally avoiding it altogether and just like ignoring the speaker. So it's like, you know, I come home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just at the market and this person told me I was beautiful, and I am, right? And like, you know, it'd be like my husband being like, yeah, like what are we gonna watch tonight? Or what's for dinner? Like a total negation, not even an acknowledgement of anything that was just said. That's the worst response. Those two, you don't want to totally negate, and you don't want to give voice to the pessimistic thoughts that the person's already having and the self-doubts. So the kind of the thing that I'm taking away from this is that however you respond to someone who's celebrating something is going to fall into one of these 4 categories. So you might as well learn how to do active constructive, because it builds rapport, it builds trust, and it strengthens the relationship and the connection that you have with them. So, okay, Tiny Tim, I see you said something. What's the best defense against someone who's actively destructive in the response if you already told them or they found out without you telling them directly? Yeah. Oh, man. Such a good question, because as much as we can like be strategic in who we tell, we can't control everything. So yeah, people are going to find out even if you didn't want them to, and or you're going to tell someone thinking they could celebrate with you and it turns out that they can't. So, I think what I would say is that, like, on the one hand, nothing is lost because we're all resilient and we're all capable of getting back to the celebrating, right? To that celebrating state. And so one thing you could do is, like, once that conversation's over, if they've like quashed your high, like I would do the celebration power up, right? Because it's going to help you bring it back, and it's going to remind you to think about it optimistically. But if it's really, really changed your thinking and now you're kind of like stuck in victim mode where you're like now like anticipating how the good news is going to become bad news, right? Maybe do the ABCDE tool to like really contest and like pull apart those negative beliefs and find out if any of them like are worth their weight, right? Because negative beliefs are really heavy and oftentimes they're false. So you could really just dispute them. But I guess that's off the top of my head. Really good question though, because you're right, like life is messy, right? We're never gonna have a perfect celebration moment with everybody, even if we've been super strategic about it. Yeah. So what I wanted to do is like take this positive, like active responding and like marry it to optimistic thinking, and really take our celebration tool that we all now have, like the PowerUP, and know how to flip it and help somebody else do it. So when someone you care about comes to you with good news, like you're ready to be like, to celebrate with them like nobody has ever celebrated with them before. And like with any of these, like I said earlier, take what you like and leave the rest, because you don't have to do all of the steps I'm about to say in order to increase or like strengthen your relationship. You don't. You know, most of us like are used to such crappy responses to celebrating that just like giving them your attention and going along into their positive and their emotional positivity and like reflecting that at them is enough. It really is enough. But you can like really power it up by doing the following. So yeah, you want to put down whatever you're doing and you want to give the person your full attention, and as best as you can, you want to share in their positive emotion. And that like includes like physical touch if you can. So like high five, like hug, dance, like whatever you can do authentically. But that will also like release positive endorphins and things like that could really like elevate it even more. And you want to congratulate them verbally, right? Like use your words, use your body, use your emotions to join in on the fun. Wow, this just reminded me of an old acting exercise. I hadn't thought about that before, an old improv exercise. But yeah, and it's agreement, and it's basically where, nope, that's not what it was called. Oh well, it's not important. But yeah, you're building the positivity with them. And then here's the additional stuff that can really like up it to the next level. You really just want to get curious and have a conversation and ask them questions that help them like relive the win, like that help them savor the experience. So it can be questions like, you know, like, where were you? Like, where were you when you found out about this? And like, how did it feel when you first heard that you were promoted? You're like, oh my God, like what did your boss actually say to you? Right? Like you're just helping them help them create the story. Like if they're not giving you a lot of details, that's a prime opportunity to help them formulate them and relive it. And then like you can just like, if you know them really well, you can just acknowledge like the strengths that they have that help them get this win. Right? So, you know, like using my Twitch example, like if you're celebrating with me, you can be like, oh my God, like yes, you're an affiliate. That's amazing. Like, I know how important this is to you. And like, clearly, like you are using your strength of bravery to the 10th degree and it's really working out for you. Like, way to go. Right? So like, you just want to the best of your ability, you want to really just point out what you see in them that's special, that's contributed to it. So you're helping them make it personal. If you really want to get fancy and it's not like super weird because like you're now talking way long or something about the celebration, right? Use your judgment. But you could like ask some questions about how is it pervasive, right? Like oh my gosh, like how is this is gonna make your life so much better. Like how do you think it's gonna like affect like, I don't know, like your house or whatever, right? Like the other things that are important to them, you could pull in for pervasiveness, and you can get into the permanence of it, right? And like talk about how this is going to make things better forever. Yeah. So I think that makes sense. It's I always am like, wow, I'm kind of throwing a lot out at you guys, which is why I like including videos and other ways of sharing this information. But unfortunately, let's see. Yep, still don't have it. Poops. I guess like the only other, let me think. The only other thing like I really want to say about celebrating, and this is where I'm now like in uncharted, unresearched territory. But I think if we tie in gratitude somehow, that's also going to be like a power up on top of the power up. Like to do the gratitude power up at the same time would be really, really wonderful because, well, life satisfaction goes up when we feel gratitude. And I think gratitude can be hard for some of us to access normally. And it's maybe easier when something really good has just happened to us. So we can use the celebration as an opportunity to learn how to be grateful and to practice being grateful so that we can bring it into other areas of our life more often. Because man, if you can successfully use gratitude when in adversity, like that is so powerful. So powerful. It can really help you shift out of the negative thinking that adversity often triggers in us in a much, much quicker way. Yeah, and I think too, like, it's just gonna help savor and extend the good juju even more. And the cool thing about gratitude is it's whatever works for us. Like, it's a personal experience, so there's no like right or wrong way to do it. Yeah, it's just all about creating that emotional experience in yourself of gratitude and thankfulness